doing? Hello and welcome back to my studio. My name is Laura and this is my YouTube channel called I Heart Knitting. You can find me on the rest of the internet as I Heart You, spelled E-W-E. That is my Instagram handle. That is the name of my Etsy shop where I make handmade project bags, and you can find me on Ravelry as I Heart You Knits. So yeah, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. Today I'm going to just give you a little rundown and update on the projects that I've been working on in the last little bit. I have some new things and one or two things that you may have seen before. If you missed my last episode, I would encourage you to go back and check it out. I went through all of my sock yarn stash and I pulled out some new projects, some things that were going to be inspiring for me. Yeah, so I pulled out some new projects, I pulled out some new yarn, and I have actually started a few of those things that I can show you today. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of run down with these new projects with you. And yeah, I don't think I really have any updates on my older projects. The next thing that I need to do that is just far overdue is ripping out the sleeve of my Cozy Classic Raglan, which I showed you a couple episodes back. I knit the sleeve, one sleeve, and it's just too tight. It's not going to work. So that just went away, you know. I just kind of couldn't handle doing that yet, so I haven't given up on the project altogether, but it is still in the same state that it was when you saw it probably like 2 months ago. So no updates on that, but I do have some work done on this sock project that I would like to show you. So this is my entry for the Halloween Cal that I'm running on Instagram. So you still have like 9 days to start a project if you would like. You don't need to finish it to be eligible for prizes. Find some sock yarn that feels kind of like it has a Halloween vibe to you, and take a photo of your project and tag it with the hashtag IHK Halloween Cal. So IHK for I Heart Knitting and then Halloween Cal, and use that hashtag, and I will be drawing prizes for that in, yeah, you know, early November. So this is, as I said, this is my entry for this. This is the third year I've run the Cal, and I'm really enjoying seeing all your projects. I would love to see more of them, of course. So this is Knit Picks Felici in the Goth Kitty colorway. So it's a self-striping, and then I have just used a woolly gray kind of commercial style sock yarn for the heels and toes of this one. I'm going to try and keep my mouth visible so that if you have trouble with, you know, hearing, then maybe some lip reading will help you hear. So just bear with me if I put this project in front of my face and then move it away. I'm trying to keep my mouth clear. So this is going great. I have finished this whole sock. I brought it camping with me a couple weeks ago. I went camping for a couple nights with some friends, and so I will have kind of like a memory of that camping trip in these, which is really fun. And yeah, I'm making some good progress. I just worked on these a bit this morning, and I finished this last pink stripe, turned the heel, and then got started again. I really love this Fish Lips Kiss heel because you can just insert it like seamlessly. It looks, you know, gives you that kind of look of an afterthought heel without having to do the afterthought. So usually when I start seeing the next color show up, I will drop the yarn and then start turning my heel right away so that when I join it back up, it only shows the new color. Sammy has come to visit. You can hear. Oh, he's leaving. Oh, he's leaving. Oh my gosh. Sammy. Sam, come here. Come here, baby. Oh, there he is. I know how much everyone loves to see Samuel. He's my senior Labrador, my little buddy. He's come for a little visit. Okay. So yes, they're going great. Nothing bad to say about them. I love the Knit Picks Felici yarn. It is pretty soft and it's just a nice alternative to hand-dyed self-striping, which is amazing in itself, but can be a little bit expensive, maybe not in your price range. So on that note, with the Halloween Cal, I wanted to show you the prize that I've picked out. So I always like to contribute like a project bag, something like that from the shop to my Cals, and then I also had someone donate another prize, which I'm really excited about. But this is going to be a little prize bundle that I will send along. So this is a medium size drawstring bag in this like witch's hat pattern with a speckly orange lining, and then I have this matching little notions pouch as well, which has a different orange lining in it. So this is part of the prize package, and then I had a very generous viewer send me a big bag of yarn from their stash, which was super nice. They were going through just kind of minimizing their stash a little bit, and they sent some great sock yarn. So there's some Knit Picks Felici sock yarn in here. This is the colorway Bookshop. Really nice. I think these are going to be beautiful knit up, you know, into socks or whatever like that. The Patton's Croy socks that they sent is also super pretty. It is in this like kind of marled colorway. If you're not familiar with Patton's Croy, it's a little bit thicker and heavier than your standard fingering weight sock yarn, but it's really hard wearing and has really fun stripe changes. And then there's also some tweed in here, and then this really beautiful bright neon pink yarn. So yeah, so that will also be going along to the winner of the Cal. So as I said, please enter. You still have time. You still have about 9 days left to enter. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to Cheryl for sending this envelope to me full of yarn. They sent it from the United States, which is, you know, not inexpensive to do. So it was just a really kind and generous donation from a viewer and supporter of the channel. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. I think that's all I have to say about that. I have my Halloween project in this Halloween project bag that I snagged from my last year's Halloween project bags. It's just a cobwebby design with a solid black on the inside. And as you can see, it fits, you know, I had the 3 full balls of yarn in here, and now I'm almost finished with this first ball. You know, so it fits not only my main color yarns, but it also fits my contrast color as well. So I've been really happy with this. It is still, I think, one of my favorite sizes of project bag, just because I knit a lot of socks. I think this is my favorite. Yeah, because it works really well with what my like knitting habits are. So I have a lot of my own sock size project bags, like this one. So this is one I made a few years ago with Tulip Pink Raccoons fabric. And I have in here another project that I started, which is another sock. So I just did the cuff on this the other day and got into the stockinette stitch, and this is a really cool colorway from the Fawn and the Fox yarns. They're not dyeing anymore, but you may be able to snag this somewhere. The colorway is called Down the Rabbit Hole, and it is an Alice in Wonderland inspired colorway, and it's knitting up really beautiful. And I think I'm going to do a contrast heel on this one as well. I'm pretty sure somewhere in my stash I have like a really bright blue that'll match this. So that's my plan with that. I just started this. These are on a set of Chiaogu needles. So these are the Chiaogu red lace circulars. So I just picked these up recently. I got a couple new sets of needles. I got this set, which is the red lace, and then I got a second set of the Chiaogu knit reds, which are similar, but they have the angled tips on them. So there you can see the angled tip there, and then these just have the straight tip. And I can't say honestly whether I prefer one to the other, but I kind of like them both interchangeably. Like, you know, I don't know if, I think I've said this before, I don't know if that angle makes a real difference for me, but I really like them. And so I grabbed these from a company called Acme Fiber Arts. I can't remember where they're based, but I'm guessing it's in Ontario. They're Canadian based. And the nice thing about them, I was turned on to them by a friend because they will ship your needles through letter mail. So you don't get a tracking number or anything like that, but it significantly cuts down the cost of shipping. You know, from like, I think my quote for expedited was about $25 for them. That's about standard what Canada Post charges for shipping something from Ontario out to BC here where I am. But I think the letter mail rate was like $3 or something like that. So yeah, it made it really affordable for me. So I thought I would mention that if you are just needing some needles, like a small order, something that will fit, you know, in like a normal envelope, and you want to save a bit on shipping, that's an option for you. So yeah, I had to fill up these new needles with something. And I really just wanted to get some new projects on the go, some things to inspire me for fall. So yeah, I'm excited with these, but you know, not much going on yet, just a little bit of ribbing and some stockinette. And then the next thing I started is another pair of socks. So these are the ones that are on the offset Chiaogus that I was just showing you. So those are this one, the Chiaogu knit red, and this is coming along pretty well too. So I have a toe-up sock started, and I did the heel turn. I think I just did this yesterday, and I'm really excited about these. These are socks knit with Shirley Bryan yarn. So Shirley Bryan yarn does these deconstructed fade socks. So this was in like a lifestyle box that I got with, they collaborated with the Grocery Girls last Christmas, and they did kind of like a, you know, winter lifestyle box. And it's just turning out really beautifully. So I have knit all the kind of bright pink with the black speckles, and now it is starting to fade out into a lighter pink. And you can see here where the colors are going to continue to fade. We're going to get out of this brighter pink and then slowly transition into these beautiful like aqua blues and then this really dark navy. So my plan for these is to knit until I run out of yarn. I would like to use as much as possible, and I'd like to go through kind of the full fade sequence on these socks. So I'm planning to knit them matching and just continue to knit until I run out of yarn, basically. So what I'll do with these is after I've done, I don't know, maybe about like 30 or 40 rounds more, I'm going to set up an increase line in the very center behind the heel, and every 10 rounds or so I will add 2 stitches. So, you know, say like set up on the center 2 stitches in the very middle of this back heel, and then increase on either side there. And that will just give the sock a bit more space to, it's going to give my calf a bit more space to fit in the sock is what that's going to do. I have bigger calves, you know, sometimes like tall boots don't fit my calves, that sort of thing. And so I find these increases really help. So yeah, just at some point, you know, you can measure out or try them on if you're doing toe up, you know, and see when your calf is going to start getting larger and needing more space. And then, like I said, I just kind of set up on the back and it increased 2 stitches every 10 rounds or so. And then once I get to a place where I want to start the ribbing, I will not do any more increases, and then I'll start the ribbing. You might need to make sure you have the proper multiple for your ribbing. Just keep that in mind. If you're going to do a 2x2 ribbing, you're going to need a multiple of 4. So, you know, you say you have like 74 stitches, you may want to go to 76 before you start your ribbing or something like that. But yeah, that's my very chaotic recipe for how to make your own calf increases on the back of your sock. If this is confusing, I always point people towards the Purl Soho little cable knee highs pattern. It actually has instructions for doing a full gusset and turned heel in a toe up sock, and then it also has instructions on how to, you know, set up that center back row and create your increases for tall socks. So yeah, like I said, I'm very excited with these, and what I think I'm gonna do is when I finish my Halloween socks, I am going to take those needles, because they are the twins to these needles, and I'm going to start my second sock right away, so that I kind of am knitting them like concurrently or in tandem. So yeah, so these deconstructed fade socks come in 2 separate little 50-gram hanks that you can wind up. So that is my plan, to kind of avoid the second sock syndrome, because I know the first sock will be really fun because I'll be watching all the color changes, and then the second sock may not be quite so interesting for me because I'll just want to get it done at that point. So that's my plan, is to kind of get started and have 2 of them going in tandem so that I can kind of work on one or the other and finish them in like kind of around the same time, you know. I don't know if anyone else does this. I have seen some other sock knitters who do this, and it just seems like a cool way to kind of avoid the second sock syndrome. Because say I feel like I'm like done with knitting blue for a bit, I can go back and knit some pink for a while. So yeah, this is in another bag that I made. This is an oldie that I made a long time ago with like little half square triangles, and then I can't remember where I got this, but it's a little like metal cassette tape stitch marker, and this always just lives on this bag. These 2 are paired together for life. So yeah, so that is the second new project. And then my third new project is in another older bag, and this is a Allison Glass rainbow print that is not available anymore. I loved it. I hoarded it for a long time and used to do updates every now and again with this print, but I just wanted to warn you that I can't get that fabric anymore. Sometimes I'll have people asking me if I can make them bags like the ones that I've showed, and sometimes I can do that. If I can, I will, but that's just one that I'm not able to do for you. But that being said, it's still really pretty, so I wanted to show you. So my last project that I've started is a baby Flax light sweater. So the Flax light is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. They have the Flax, which is the original worsted weight sweater, and then they have the Flax light, which is made out of fingering weight, and this is my go-to baby sweater. So as you can see, I'm just working away here. I have done the collar, and now I'm working on the yoke. So the yarn is really special. I will show you that in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of show you the texture on the sleeves here. So what you do is you set yourself up a little panel on the side for the sleeves, and you start knitting garter stitch down the center, and then you continue to increase, but then you're only garter stitching just this center kind of piece that would go down here, down your sleeve. And I think it's a fun detail. You can totally omit it if you like. This is just a really great baby sweater pattern in my opinion, and it actually goes up from like a newborn size all the way up to like, you know, an adult, probably like, you know, I can't think off the top of my head, but I guess I have the pattern here so I could tell you how many inches the largest size is here. So it goes up to a 59-inch chest, which I think is fairly size inclusive. And also very cool that this is a free pattern that you could knit for, you know, almost your whole family. Yeah, I love this pattern. I think this is like the 10th one that I've made, this Flax Light. It's just my go-to baby sweater. It's, you know, it's, it's like rewatching an old television show. Sometimes it's just really nice and soothing to knit a pattern that you've knit many times before and kind of see it come together. But the yarn is really special for this one as well. As you can see here, I have stripes growing, and I'm not sure if you can really notice, but as I am increasing the number of stitches on my needles, I'm still getting the same width of stripes on my yoke. And that is because this yarn, which is a Gauge Dye Works yarn, this is their sweater yoke configuration. So as you continue to knit and you continue to increase the number of stitches on your needles, Catherine from Gauge Dye Works has done the math so that the stripes stay the same width. So you get every stripe, there's slightly more yarn of that color so that your stripes actually stay the same width across your entire yoke. I think some other dyers do this as well, these sweater yoke skeins. I think they're super cool. And there's the tag for the Gauge Dye Works. And it would also probably work well for a triangular shawl. But then the remainder of this yarn is just the gray. So she does actually specific shawl skeins that will stripe through for like the entire width of a shawl, if that makes any sense. So this is the Whiskey in a Teacup colorway, and it's kind of like a muted rainbow kind of thing going on. So I have the darker pink, and then it's transitioned here to like the lighter pink, and then we have two different little yellows in here, and like an orange and like a more yellow, and then this is going to move into greens, and then finally into some blues before it switches to just straight charcoal for the rest of the sweater. And yeah, it just makes a really cute little baby sweater. I think this is the second time I've knit a baby sweater out of one of her sweater skeins, and it's just really fun. And the other thing about this dyer, Gauge Dye Works, is their yarn base is really beautiful. Their colors are really well thought out. Like, she does a lot of testing to make sure that the colors go together really well. But the actual base itself is a really thick and plump yarn. I think it is like maybe 8 plies or something. If you take it apart, it's not really something I'm going to be able to show on video, but if you unspin it, you can see there's actually there's at least 3 plies here that have already been plied together. So there's like 6, probably at least, strands of yarn that go into making this final single ply, like not single ply, final single thread. And what that does is it makes a really beautiful round yarn with really lovely stitch definition. And it is slightly plumper than maybe what you would expect from a sock yarn. So like, for an example, the yarn that I got in the deconstructed fade sock is a 75 merino 25 nylon, and that has 230 yards in each 50 gram skein, so 460 yards. That's a pretty common yardage for 100-gram skein of yarn. This one here is an 80% superwash wool. It is 20% nylon. It has 115 grams, so a little bit extra, but only 443 yards. So it's just a little bit plumper, but I really love their base. So if you haven't tried out Gauge Dye Works, I would get on their mailing list because they are very popular, and their yarn is really labor intensive to make, so they're not always putting out huge updates or anything like that. So yeah, I'm really excited for all these new projects. I feel like they have kind of re-inspired me to start knitting again. I wasn't knitting a lot. I haven't knit that much like all year, honestly, for 2022. I knit a ton last year, so I'm not upset about that. I guess somehow in my head I thought that momentum would just continue, and you know, so far I haven't been keeping up nearly with the rate that I was knitting last year. I knit so many sweaters last year and a bunch of socks, and you know, that's fine. Like, I don't need to kind of continue that momentum of like creating so much necessarily. But I do have some things that I would like to work on as the weather's starting to change. I have a couple new sweaters that I'd like to get going on. And yeah, so I'm very excited that casting on all these small projects has kind of re-inspired me to do some knitting. And, you know, I just wound off all the yarn, shoved it into some project bags, and then over the last few weeks since my last recording, I have just been grabbing a project bag and doing some work on it and then putting it away, and then grabbing another project bag next time I sit down. And yeah, that's what's worked for me for getting inspired. Small projects, you know, a lot of stockinette and just simple things that, you know, I don't really need to reference a pattern very much. That's what's gotten me kind of back excited. And I think I'm finally at the stage where I'm ready to pull apart the sleeve of my Cozy Classic raglan and restart that and get that finished, because I know I'm going to wear that so much when it's finished, but it's just getting there is going to be a bit of a process. So yeah, that's my next goal, you know, continue to work on these. I'd like to finish my Halloween knit along socks by the end of October, which I'm on track to do for sure. And yeah, and then I can start a new sweater, because I don't like to have too many sweaters on the go at the same time. I get really overwhelmed. So like I said, get that Cozy Classic raglan finished, and then I can start a new sweater. I already have yarn for stuff, and I'm really excited about some of the things that that I have in mind to work on. Also, the weather is finally starting to change. So as I said, I live in British Columbia, Canada. I live on a really small island in between the mainland of Vancouver and Vancouver Island. So I'm kind of in between Vancouver and Victoria on a little island. And we have had, you know, a beautiful summer, but it kind of extended all the way into October. And while that was really nice, you know, we went camping on Thanksgiving weekend, and I was sitting in the sun and I jumped in the ocean, which, you know, it should usually be like really foggy and rainy by that point. It was really great, but we hadn't had any rain for like, I think 3 months. We didn't have any rain, maybe 1 or 2 millimeters. Normally it doesn't rain much in the summer here, but we really need some rain. The rivers are really low, and everything's been really dry. But we woke up this morning to the sound of rain on the roof, which is really great. The weather is starting to shift into that cooler, you know, fall, like, you know, here it gets overcast and foggy. It doesn't usually get too cold, but you know, this changing of the seasons that's kind of seems to be finally arriving a little like a month late is, you know, getting me excited about, you know, cozy evenings inside, you know, having soup for dinner, and knitting and working on new projects to keep me warm through the winter. So it feels really good. So yeah, let me know what you're working on. I would love to hear you know, what your plans are, if, you know, you're going into the winter season, what your plans are for, you know, winter knits, you know, if you're planning to knit gifts this year. It's, you know, holidays are right around the corner. So I'm sure a lot of you are already like have either started your like, you know, gift knitting, or are at least thinking about it and thinking about getting started. I've kind of laid off the gift knitting in the last few years because it was like put a lot of pressure on me at a time when I had a lot of other things going on. But who knows? I might knit something for my mom this year because she always deserves something lovely and hand knit. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for updating you on projects. The last thing I wanted to show you is some a really fun collab that is in the shop right now. So you can't really see it here, but today I am wearing a shirt that is printed by Stef from OMDL Coastal. You can see a little logo there. So Stef's prints are very cool. She prints on like a lot of t-shirts and aprons and dresses and, you know, a lot of worn goods normally, like things that you would wear, you know, handkerchiefs and that sort of thing. Her design process is very cool. She's very good about posting videos of her process. If you want to check her out on Instagram, her handle is OMDL Coastal. So yeah, so her design process is really cool. What she does is she designs something that she's going to print on a shirt. She'll make the design, and then she actually hand carves a stamp with like carving tools, and then stamps them onto fabric. So it's a really cool process. It's, you know, very, very, you know, handmade and individual. And I have lots of her shirts. She's a Pender Island resident, so she lives on the same island that I do. And she really taps into not only the kind of West Coast culture of, you know, camping and trees and oceans and all the activities that go along with, you know, kind of coastal living here. She also taps into her heritage. You know, she has a lot of like Northern European heritage on the one side, and then on her other side, she has Métis heritage as well. The Métis are a unique Indigenous group here in Canada, if you don't know about them. And so I was really, really excited when I reached out to Steph and asked if she would like to print some panels for project bags for me, and she agreed. So this has been in the making for a few months now, but it's finally come together and they are in the shop. Some of the designs I'm getting very low on. I might only have one or two of certain designs left, but there are 4 different designs here, and I'm just going to quickly show you what they are. So this is what I have done with them. They are printed on a beautiful black cotton linen blend fabric, and this is the coastal camping design, and they're all my large zipper project bags. So it's a large size. It fits you know, say 3 to 4 skeins easily. It has an interior slip pocket here, and you can choose whether you would prefer this white speckle for a lining or the black speckle. And then I'll choose a pocket color. It's usually contrast like this, but that may vary depending on what, you know, small pieces I have available. But like I said, I have 4 designs here. So this one is called Coastal Camping. This is one of her older designs. You can definitely see in the next couple of panels that I show you that her newer designs, she's really upped her detail and everything. But I just really love this print a lot. You know, I've been seeing her printing with it for years, and so I definitely wanted to include that. And it just has that kind of West Coast camping vibe, which of course I love. This is how I would like to spend most of my days and nights, is camping, you know, in the forest by the water. So I have, yeah, this design, and then these next ones are just the panels. I haven't made them up into bags yet, but it'll give you an idea of what you're going to get. It will be that same size bag. This design is called Rosette Métis, and it is, you know, in honor of her Métis heritage. Her family was on Drummond Island and then in Penetanguishene, Ontario, which is really close to where I grew up on Georgian Bay. So I wanted to include this one. Like I said, you can really see how her attention to detail and just her kind of confidence in her design and carving have, you know, increased over the years. This one is a gray whale, but she has titled this Kines, which is whale or gray whale in our local indigenous language here, which is the Saanich language. So we live very close to many places that are culturally significant to those Saanich people, and also are living on their unceded territory here on Pender Island. So I appreciate that she has decided to include the Saanich name for the gray whale in the title of this design. And again, it's just very beautiful with amazing detail. And then the last one is called Mushroom Forest, and it is an update on one of her older designs, but again, just very beautiful, highly detailed. You know, we have some chanterelles there and some morels and some little, I can't remember what these little fairy saddles, elven saddles, I'm not sure, but can't name them all, but they're all very beautiful mushrooms. And this little wonderful human walking through, which I believe is inspired by, you know, Stef used kind of herself as a model for that. So I love these so much. Like I said, I've been, you know, I've been buying Stef's designs for a long time. Stef started her business right around the same time I did, and we both kind of came up, you know, in the farmers markets together and all that. So it's been really fun to kind of watch her, her business grow and adapt and change. And like I said, I was just really, really excited to work with her, and I was so happy with the feedback that I was getting from people. Like I said, quite a few of them have sold, but there are a few left in most of those designs. If you are interested, those are in the shop now. And yeah, this is definitely something I may do again with Stef in the future, because I think that, you know, you all, like my customers, responded really well to it. And always great to collaborate with, you know, another like local handcrafter artisan. Her skill just blows me away. I could never do what she does. I cannot draw. I'm very crafty, but I cannot art at all. So yes, either way, just really happy with how this collab all kind of came together and how it worked out. So these are going to be limited. I don't know what plans, like we haven't made any plans for a future update. So if you are interested in one of these, I would grab them. Sometimes Stef does have to retire prints because, you know, eventually the stamps start to break down and things like that. So I'm not trying to kind of create this idea of scarcity, but I just don't want anyone to be disappointed if, you know, say in a future update, I'm not able to offer a design that you're after. So they are in the shop now if you're interested. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I just wanted to say thank you for your support in the shop. The last 2 updates have been really positive. There's maybe 1 or 2 Halloween bags left in the shop if you're interested. You know, I always have a little bit of stock in the shop, but I do kind of try and get these themed updates going every couple weeks. And now I'm going to completely pivot with my Etsy shop into like holiday mode and start getting ready for kind of my winter Christmas holiday themed bags, which I am planning to get into the shop the first week in November. That's usually when I get them in. because shipping really starts to slow down that time of year, and I want to make sure that you get them with plenty of time to enjoy them for, you know, your winter knitting projects. So yeah, look forward to that. Like I said, first week in November. Have a look at the shop now. I have some fun things planned. I have some fabric that I'm really excited about for my next couple updates. But for now, my focus is going to be on, you know, finishing these last made to order stamp bags as they come in, and then I will be getting working on my holiday update, and then yeah, more things to come after that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully this was enjoyable for you to watch. I am always happy to hear, you know, some feedback from y'all. It's always really great. And I do have some plans for some upcoming videos in the future. Something on sweater mending will be coming down the line soon. And I think I might do an update on, you know, a video I did last year, which was every sweater I've ever made, where I actually try them on for you so that you can get a sense of how they fit, at least on someone of my size. So let me know if you're interested in that, or if you have any other suggestions on videos you would like to see. I would like to keep peppering those in between my vlog updates on my knitting progress. Don't forget to enter into the I Heart Knitting Halloween Cal if you would like to win some awesome sock yarn and a spooky project bag. And other than that, yeah, just take care, and I will be talking to you again soon.